Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Hip Hop Scholar Podcast. I am Melanie, the Hip Hop Scholar, and today we are venturing deep into the heart of the South, to the 225, the Red Stick capital of Louisiana. The city of grit, hope, culture, resilience. It's where our guest tonight cut his teeth, crafted his voice, and turned his story into sound. From Baton Rouge emerges an iconoclast poet, a sonic alchemist whose name you might already know, Doobie Corazon, formerly known as, say, Doobie Main. He reintroduced himself with rawness, with vulnerability, and with vision. On his SoundCloud page, it tells us, a walking, talking, breathing contradiction I am. I'm far from perfect, but I'm actively striving for transcendence of the spirit. So follow me on this spiritual journey of rights, wrongs, ups, and downs, and let's enjoy this roller coaster we call life through the arts. Amen. Now, that phrase alone gives you something tangible. The idea that Doobie isn't just making tracks, he is exploring selfhood. He is excavating the shadowed corners of his past in the 225, where living is colored by both systemic pain and Southern beauty, and turning them into creative gold. He carries the Baton Rouge badge, not just in his address, but in his approach. Bold, introspective, restless. From underground releases like Mine, Darth Doobie, Soul for Sale, Smart Juggin', each title dripping with duality. Doobie demonstrates that he can thrive in the trap-influenced currents of Southern hip-hop while also weaving in threads of alternative rock, spoken word intensity, and spiritual inquiry. But this is more than a catalog of songs. This is a story of place, of identity. Consider the 225, a place with a rich musical legacy. Think Zydeco, blues, bounce, Southern rap, but also a place shaped by hardship, flooding, systemic neglect, educational gaps. And through that context, Doobie emerges. He brings into his work the weight of those surroundings, but also the transcendence. He reminds us that someone from the red stick doesn't have to conform to expectation. He can redefine them. So tonight we honor that journey. We honor the kid from Baton Rouge who refused to be boxed in. The artist who refused to be satisfied with just being another Southern rapper. Instead, he decided to be the alchemist of his life, his surroundings, and his narrative. He decided to channel the hustle of the 225's streets into the hustle of his voice, his craft, and to climb while still carrying what keeps him grounded. So when you hear his verses, listen for more than clever wordplay. Listen for the echoes of the Mississippi River Nights, for the high school dreams and the city's long history of survival, for the spiritual hunger that drives someone to keep creating when the odds are stacked. Because Doobie is not simply performing. He is persevering, not just rapping, but reflecting, and not just living in Baton Rouge, but transforming its story into art. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Baton Rouge's own shapeshifter of sound, Doobie Corazon.
Yes, indeed.
All right, welcome to the program, Doobie. How you doing, sir?
I am great, Melanie. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate all of those kind words. I feel very heard and seen. So thank you very much for that introduction.
Oh, you are most welcome. We give our flowers here on the podcast for great artists, especially representing Louisiana. I, too, being from Louisiana, lived all over. And so that 225 is a very special place for me. And I'm very proud to have you on this podcast as well, Doobie. So please, share with us your wisdom, share your knowledge. And, we are welcome to have you here as much as you feel welcomed, okay?
Will do. Try my best.
All right. Oh man, your best is already given. The music is fire. Like, I'm going to make certain that SoundCloud is on every link and every clip because I enjoy the music. I really did. Especially, what's the song I was listening to? Chasing Paper and Jug Season. I was listening to that mostly today. And yeah, it's the sound of the South. And it's so representative, but just like in the introduction, you still have that poetic element while still keeping it trapped. You still got the lyrics and the beat going on, so you're able to hit a lot of different audiences with your music.
Cool. Yeah, that's the goal. Glad it's doing what it's supposed to, I guess. Gotta keep it going.
Absolutely. Don't you stop either. That's also one of the premises of the podcast is to give that encouragement to artists to never stop, to keep going. Your selection of hip hop as a avenue for creativity and for expression, you're doing it in such a phenomenal way. So let's begin from the start. When did you fall in love with hip hop? At what point?
Nice.
What song? What music? When was that for you?
Okay, so when I fell in love with hip hop, I was staying in New Orleans with my auntie, and she had an extensive catalog of CDs, and I stumbled upon Lil Wayne's The Carter 2. And yeah, it was a experience. So being that I was staying in New Orleans, and that was the first album that I listened to in its entirety. So even though a lot of it is, I say half and half. It's like half and half, kind of braggadocious, like just talking his stuff, On the other side is speaking on his experiences of living in that city. So as I'm staying in the same city he's speaking about, I got to see the same uglies that he's transmuting and turning into, something with some swagger behind it, the way I liken a little, might sound crazy to some, but it was almost like the Edgar Allan Poe feel for me, where he was turning um the trenches and people selling drugs and death, murder, like horrible things. These are no things to brag about, but hip hop is that place where we transmute ugly and turn it into something beautiful. We make it look sexy, in the words of Kendrick Lamar. So that was my experience, and that's when I fell in love with it and realized it was like we're allowed to talk about the bad things and turn it into something good and turn it into a tangible item that you could make money or make people feel good or whatever you want to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you do as you please with it.
Absolutely. Well said. Lil Wayne coming from the Holly Grove area of New Orleans. I used to live in Uptown, right off of South Carrollton, and on the trolley and
Mm,
RTA, all those different experiences. You hear the music, and then living in that same area, it becomes affirmations. It becomes this soundtrack, even. And to add to what you're saying, my doctoral studies is in hip hop, and so around the world. One of the spaces in Senegal, people that are refugees from Senegal, when they finally find a home or a domicile in their new environment, the very first thing they build in a home, it's not a bedroom, it's not a kitchen, it is a studio for them to express themselves and to get that all of those challenges of how issues and just the negative things of life can get to you. So that is a world renowned feeling that you're expressing there, Doobie, of being in the environment and listening to the music of somebody who's lived there, who is championed there, who survived. That is a very lived experience, and I love the word transmute, which you being able to actually hear exactly the prayer even that Lil Wayne is saying, even in a bravado way, but it's also a very specific and targeted way that he does so and has done so since his youth. But that's a great start for you, is to have the Carter
hmm.
2 as your first inclination into hip hop. And so even for yourself, let's talk about the name Doobie Corazon. Like, where did that come from? For you, and like how long have you been as a hip hop artist? Although you do many different things, let's just begin right there with your stage name and your artistry.
Right. So it kind of, I'll start from the beginning on my name. So my last name is Dubucle. So my nickname was Doobie growing up. Um, and then over time, once I kind of got into producing and things, when somebody would try to get my attention, they would say Doobie man, like, say Doobie man, where the beats at? Say Doobie man, pass me that water. I don't know. That was just a way to get my attention. So it kind of it stuck. It was so natural that I just heard it so much and everybody was saying it already. So I kind of made that my stage name and my producer tag. Um, but so I was probably from seventh grade all the way till about, I don't know, maybe 2019 or so. I was using that stage name, but I don't know, I kind of reached a point where going through school and um I was using a lot of substances, let's say. And from that whole period of life, like I had probably never made a song or written a lyric where I wasn't under the influence of something. So once I kind of strayed away from that lifestyle, I didn't feel the same. Like I don't feel like that person anymore. My approach musically is completely different. So Corazon being heart in Spanish, I just kind of my like new slogan. I'm from the heart. That's why I put it in my name. Like I've used that in a few records, unreleased records, but it's just I'm creating from a different place, without the external inspiration, more, from that soul searching. If I'ma say it, say what you feel what you say. So try to speak from the heart, and that's where that new name has taken shape.
Okay, that's awesome. That's such a beautiful way of explaining it, especially being from the heart of Louisiana, the capital of Baton Rouge, and then moving from still sticking with Doobie because that's part of your name, like you said, your French Creole last name. That's part of it,
Right.
Doobie, and then having that Corazon. That reminds me, it's a song with Outkast when Andre 3000 states, "I hadn't smoked or took a shot of drink because I approached this. I want to approach this album on another note. It's the same premise that he did because when he first started out with Outkast, Southern Playalistic, Cadillac Funky Music, and even after that, smoking and drinking was what it was, and then he started transcending and growing into this man that did not need those external influences, and he really did make that mention in his music, and he created in his new demeanor, which has its respect, right? And so I appreciate you
Hmm.
sharing that piece and then looking at how sobriety can even still permeate that creativity. It doesn't change the game. It just changes the piece that you play on the game. And the more you stay sober, the better it does become. So proud of you for that. I appreciate you sharing that too. Because that's
Thank
something that's vulnerable. You're welcome. Because a lot of people think that's the only way I can create is if I'm under the influence. I gotta, have something to make me create something, and if I can't, then I can't do it. But in all actuality, it was in the heart. It was right there in
you.
your
Right.
heart. So Doobie Corazon, that is the name for sure. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I did feel like that for the longest. I did not think, which is such a crutch. It's a horrible crutch to have. And it's a bad identity to give yourself and to be stuck in. Like you mentioned that the box. I don't care to be put in a box, but I'm doing it to myself, and feeling
Mm-hmm.
like, man, I can't, like, it's almost crazy to think like I can't create or I can't express what I've experienced without something that has nothing to do with my experiences, you know. So kind of crazy to think back at it, but you know.
Well, it takes a very strong and determined person to be able to identify their weaknesses. That's the
Sure.
strongest person in the world that can identify where they have the weakness, where they need assistance and support with. So, count yourself strong. One of the strongest out there for being able to do so. Uh, in addition, the caption really captured me in the SoundCloud. You describe yourself as a walking, talking, breathing contradiction. And that's a very
Mhm.
powerful statement. So, what contradictions have defined your life and your music the most? And talk about how it shows up in your music. Let's look into that.
Cool. So, great question. Let's get it. Um, so as I mentioned, I discovered hip hop more so through Lil Wayne. I have, other early influences as well, but I think Lil Wayne kind of showed up in a lot of my earlier and probably still to this day, music where as as a rapper, we kind of think of rap as this braggadocious place or kind of even we're so used to using certain words that may not be the most positive or uplifting, um even towards those we're supposed to be keeping safe and thinking about their well-being and how they're seen in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that influence from Lil Wayne, like we all know Lil Wayne kind of has a he got a pirate mouth. He's not really uplifting our queens and our brothers and things of that sort. So I'd find at times I may create music like kind of just to be creating something, like just to, this is dope. But at the same time, it's like I would feel like untrue to myself because is that even my feelings? Is that how I really see who I'm speaking about? Or am I just kind of fitting into the what we think rap is? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like, and then it's a hard place to be in because it's like it's songs that I like I love it, it's cool, it sounds good, but who does this help or hurt? And
Right.
am I reflecting my heart properly? Like when if somebody has no idea who I am truly, but all they have is this song where I said this about these people. Now they can only judge me off of what I put into the world. Um, so yeah, just at times it's still fun though. Like that's the hip hop or the rap I grew up on. So I may find myself going that direction, but then feeling like, dang, I don't even want to put this out, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and then beyond that, I'm a Libra. My sun, moon, ascending is Libra, Taurus, Libra. So I'm on the bright side and the dark side of Venus. Like I'm just that kind of plays into the heart too. Like the whole I'm born on Friday. Like I have so much Venus, which is like that love and in my chart and life that I just feel like I'm always on this teeter totter, you know. Like some days I want to speak on the dark side of it. Some days I want to speak on the light side of it. So, life is duality, but I don't know. I try to, I guess, just be conscious and cautious about if it's truth, then it has a place in music and in the world to be spoken on. But
Mm-hmm.
just you have to watch what it can do. you know. So
Hmm.
I think that's like mainly cause like I've had conversations where I'll say like about Boosie. Like I remember this, I fell out with my best friend actually that I grew up with about Boosie, where he's like, he brags about murder and all these things, like bad things, like, and yes, if you're participating, probably don't speak on things, illegal things you're doing. But on the other side, if that's what you saw growing up, if that's your experiences, who are you
Hmm.
to say this person can't use that as a medium to release? You know, this is his therapy and or just a place to again transmute the evil he's felt in the world and turn it into a career or just something somebody can vibe to. And it's just it's a weird balancing act that I still haven't really figured out completely. So I'm
Hmm.
still walking and contradicted, you know.
Okay, okay. I get that now. There are multiple prisms when it comes to producing and sharing music, and you take that responsibility quite seriously and want to make certain that you are doing a service because you have a responsibility to your audience. In that same breath, though, coming from Baton Rouge, from the 225, you have to be of a different caliber, like a real soldier to come out of that unscathed and witnessing a lot of different things and seeing people go down and never getting back up. Being able to express yourself in those spaces, it does become a juggle. And then you have people like Boosie, along with several other artists that come from Louisiana too, and Lil Wayne, and we just saw the verses No Limit versus Cash Money, and the whole business aspect of it and the artistry of it. The goal of hip hop altogether, there's many different spectrums of music. They have it where they talk about bitches and hoes and drugs, and then you have the other side where they could talk about Christian rap and then talk about finances and building a better future. That's where hip hop is this nuclear structure that can really just take on this form and this shape on its own to whoever it services and to whom you're servicing it to. Um, as a young adult, right? And I'm being your elder, I don't want you to feel that what you do is such a negative thing, and but I want you to still take responsibility and be careful with what you say, but also understand that this is also an outlet, right? This is an outlet. This is a way for you to express yourself, and you being able to articulate yourself, falling out with your best friend behind standing on your thesis of asserting yourself on this is what I disagree with. That is the whole goal of anything or any insight with being an adult in society, is standing 10 toes down, as we say, on whatever your topic is. So never be apologetic about it. Always strive to give your best effort in everything that you do, and everything will come together, right? As you get older, as you see the decades as they come, everything comes together, and that longevity will last. And to hear a young person like yourself have that responsibility to say that I don't want to even put this out, I don't want to disrespect anyone. I don't want to disrespect myself. That speaks volumes of your leadership as well as your dedication to wanting to promote specific type of music that is lifting and not putting a demise on anyone. And it's, life is what it does, right? You have
Right.
opportunities that may not align with how you feel, but then you also have to navigate with what you will do and what you won't do regardless. So keep living. That's what the old folks say. And so I'm an old folk telling you, just keep on living and you'll definitely see that. But keep on this same path that you're on. Because everything you just said is correct. This contradiction, walking, talking, breathing, that's life. Life is a
Right.
contradiction of itself, where nothing truly makes sense, especially in the day and era that we're in. So the outlet for you is hip hop, and you said earlier, you have unreleased songs out already. Well, unreleased songs that are not out, but you've just created because that it's therapeutic. It's almost cathartic to be able to do so, and maybe at a later time you might push it out or maybe never, but also just again using hip-hop as that medium to create, to get up off your chest, to stand and assert yourself on how you feel. And that's really the beauty of it all, is what hip-hop can do is allow you to do just that. So yeah, keep on thinking just like you're thinking, and as you're walking, talking, and breathing those contradictions, you're seeing everybody and the environment living that too. Indeed.
Mm, for
Oh yeah.
sure. Yeah, that's.
And then
I kind of had this
go ahead. Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it got a little lag to it. Um, yeah, I kind of had this conversation with you in my head as I was like preparing for it yesterday, actually. So,
Okay.
yeah, and you even, yeah, you went further right here than in my head, of course, because you actually speaking. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of worked through it yesterday, thinking and just live. So that's good advice. It's that imperfect aspect of it. Like it's like I'm searching for this perfection that doesn't exist. So yeah, like you said, just gotta keep living and I'll learn and go from there. So thank you. Great
Mm-hmm.
advice.
Oh yeah. You're welcome. As the elder, I'm telling you, keep living. You may change your name several different times. And all that is okay because you're using hip hop for what it's built for. When you were speaking, I was thinking of a gymnast, right, in the Olympics, where they do the backflips, they're doing all these somersaults and everything. And if they mess up, like one time, if they don't do the right backflip or if they don't do the correct somersault, then they lose all of these points, but not thinking you know what kind of effort that they've been putting in the gym, like every day, what they eat, what they don't eat, the time that's taken in order to be this elite athlete, them having to give up time with friends, time with family, a lot of them having to move states to go and train. Nobody sees the behind the scenes. They're all just looking at the actual performance of it all, not really thinking about what it took to get there. And I feel like when you were talking, that's exactly how you're thinking, is that you're more focused on the training aspect of it, right? That, yeah, you're right there getting ready to perform. You're at the Olympics and, they're giving you your time. You got the chalk on your hands, but you're more focused on, the efforts that you've given in training rather than just focusing on being the champion that you are. That if you mess up, if you get a perfect score, at the end of the day, you know what effort you've put in. Your family and friends
Mm,
and those that are closest to you know the effort that you've put in, regardless of what that score comes out. And people are going to cheer you on, of course, if it's perfect, if it's the way that they have scored it to be. Um,
mm-hmm.
but again, we can't, we just have to do it. You just have to keep living, let life live. And again, being from Baton Rouge, you're coming from a place that, especially when it comes to music and really all things all together, that Baton Rouge gets overshadowed by New Orleans a lot, right? So you're living and growing up in Baton Rouge as well as New Orleans. What do you think people do misunderstand about the 225 sound? And then what are you personally bringing to that conversation? So let's unpack it there, where everybody, when people think of Louisiana, they automatically say, oh, New Orleans, NOLA, NO. But what is the misunderstanding when it comes to the 225? And then what are you doing about it? What do you personally bring to the conversation to make people think differently?
Hmm. So the misunderstanding, the big one I think is just all jig music and like murder, murder, kill, kill music. Which a lot of it is. A whole bunch of it is, and I think, and I've had these discussions with other artists that at times you feel like you have to go that direction to. We have these talks like it's either you have to go full on jigger, murder, kill, catch your body, go sit down in jail for a little while to make your, introduction into it, or just try to skip over BR altogether. Like take your sound. If you don't fit into that category, like go over there to Houston or go to Atlanta or something because they may resonate with it quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, but I mean, there's a huge other side to BR. Um, many other sides. Like I know artists that are making all type of conscious, alternative, a bunch of different stuff. And with me fitting, which I think I make some like jigger stuff, and I just make whatever I want, and at times I've even felt too universal for where I'm at, which sounds like a crazy problem to, like a good problem to have, I guess, but something I've noticed is like niche artists are easier to deal with and market because you know exactly who this is for. Um, where I may make something far left today and far right tomorrow, and it's like whoever's attention I did grab yesterday, now they're looking at me stupid tomorrow because what is this? That's not what you made yesterday. We don't like this. So I think it'll all make sense eventually because I guess everything isn't for everybody. But if I like put out everything, maybe 30 to 100 songs down the line, maybe everybody will get enough tastes that they can all sit at the same table and say, well, wait, we just appreciate Doobie as the artist as a whole rather than, you can't push an artist into a direction. And if you allow your audience to push you into a direction, you probably won't be fulfilled with what you're making. I don't think so. So just a whole what I have to offer and what I bring is the full spectrum of what life is. And yeah, get acquainted in whatever pocket that you can, and then just be open and try to appreciate the rest of it. Because 9 times out of 10, you're experiencing some of this other side as well. You might just not be putting any thought into it, like living one dimensional or listening one dimensionally. So I think that's what I got going on.
That was very introspective, like you were saying. Again, my being from Louisiana, I know exactly what you're talking about. Where if you don't fit into that one sound, that one type of a jig beat, then yeah, go to Houston, go to Atlanta, go someplace else because they are not going to like it. But why can't the both be the same? Why aren't you able to, or why aren't we able to, honor the jig rap, the bounce, and then still be able to have an East Coast, West Coast, universal, as you say, flavor to it, and then capture many different audiences. And the niche piece, that's one of the reasons I appreciate social media is that what artists couldn't do back in the 90s, now artists now can reach out and find audiences that can appreciate these
Hmm.
different sounds and these different movements. And so you don't have to be placated into one place and then feeling like an outcast. There are other places, there are other audiences that are wanting to hear just that. And we're in the year 2025 as well, Doobie, where not only is the world becoming different, but things are becoming, people want authenticity. People want something new and creative and different than what regular is. And so, coming from a place in Louisiana where you have both bounce rap and you have Zydeco, can't people enjoy the both? Aren't you able to go to a party and they play both types of music and people can dance to both of them? Because that's the culture, right? That's the culture in which we live in. But then also, merging the two, or even throwing away both of them and then doing something completely different, and then damning it all and saying, just because I'm not in this on this path doesn't mean that I'm any less a creative visionary, right? And that's
Mm.
again where you have to be so true to yourself with that when you're creating music, when you are staying true to who you are. That's, one of the premises of this podcast is to keep artists like yourself to continue on and to not feel that you're on a wrong path or that people dislike you. There are audiences all around the world. Hip hop is celebrated. I had the wonderful opportunity of interviewing some rappers from Europe and Austria and Germany. They have it in Scotland, Japan, Australia, all of my research, Cuba, all over the world. And there's a bit of research in Antarctica that even supports hip hop being used as expression. I mean, when I say literally all around the world, and hip hop sounds so differently in different parts of it as well. My husband's being from El Salvador, one of their hip hop things that they do there is breakdancing. And when I say they are serious about their
Mm.
breakdance, it's a beautiful thing to witness. It may not be the same breakdancing that you might see in Brooklyn, but they're breakdancing nonetheless. And you saw breakdancing was even in the Olympics this past go round,
Mhm.
where they added breakdancing to the Olympics because, forging that path and creating something new is what the world needs from visionaries like yourself. So, yes, the answer is yes, that you are correct. And all of the things that you are thinking, you are absolutely correct. And it may not come to pass or connect until you're, maybe 10, 20, 30 years down the line, but you're absolutely on the right path by not being a carbon copy of something else or someone else, or recycling something that you've already heard. That is the absolute best thing to do because it keeps you, fresh. It keeps you producing new music and new ways of expressing yourself. And then also, you're not even just an artist, you also direct, you produce. So you're supporting other artists and creative visionaries like yourself to be able to support their therapy, their cathartic way of expressing themselves. So that is an amazing, phenomenal way that you are capturing the essence of hip hop and making it your own. Absolutely so.
Thank you. Thank
Oh yeah. Uh, because, and again, my question here: you've worn and wear many different hats: artist, director, producer. What's the most important lesson that you've learned about ownership and independence in this digital era of hip hop? Especially now, like you said, in 2019, from seventh grade to 2019, and now 2019 and moving forward, it's a digital way in capturing an audience with hip hop. But what's the most important lesson that you could teach others when it comes to the ownership and especially that independence piece that you can share and teach our audience?
you. Most important lesson. Um, so I think, especially, okay, so we're in 2025 where everything is pretty much in your hands at all times. You can create from scratch the beat, put your lyrics down, shoot your video, distribute the video and music, pretty much all from your hands. And with that accessibility, the I'll call it competition because in the business sense, and hip hop on the MC side or breakdancing, there is competition. There's a competitive aspect to it. And yeah, with the business, why would I, engage with your material over someone else's? So that's our competition. So you want that competitive edge which comes from the quality of what you create. So quality comes from one of two things. Either you're going to pay somebody who knows, or you're going to get it figured out and do it yourself at the highest level. And with it being in your hands, the competitive aspect of people are pumping out material. People can create, and you'll get left in the dust. So the more you know for yourself, the quicker you can pump out quality material. Not that you don't want to rush it, you don't want to like half-ass anything, of course, but when you know what you're doing, you can, and just knowing what you're doing, when you put your money up, your hard-earned money, you know what to expect from someone else. No one can get over on you and give you, like I engineer as well. I can walk in a studio and I could tell an engineer move like, hey, I'm on the clock. I'm spending my money. I need this done the best way possible. I could do it myself. Visually,
Mm-hmm.
even it may be something I don't fully understand, but just having a little bit of, being savvy and everything, you know how to navigate and know what to expect from those who say they know what they're doing, pretty much. Um, I hope I answered that question.
Yes, you did. You
Yeah,
absolutely did. You said pretty much take the reins if you got to yourself. If you own this wagon and they don't know what they're doing with these horses, you tell them move over. I'm gonna get these horses going, and this stagecoach gonna get to where it need to be. And you're
yeah,
absolutely right because 2025 getting ready to be 2026, and to see that the world is more accessible, and there are so many more tools. Back in my day, the ones and twos, you had your turntables with you and you had the vinyls, and
yeah,
it was you having to carry everything with you. I don't know if you remember the movie House Party, when
hmm,
Play had to go pick up Martin to take him to the house to get set up for the party, and they had to pack that car. He had the girls in the car too. They
yeah,
like, oh, we have to come back and pick you up, but no more of that now. Everybody can get in the vehicle and or Uber, because that's something new. Because everything is readily available, so there are really no excuses. No excuses for anyone,
hmm,
because everyone has an opportunity, but not everyone has talent. Not everyone
hmm,
is a creative visionary that can use these tools. Like, my husband, he is brilliant. He is a carpenter. He has every single tool in our garage. He's even rearranging everything now. And I have access to those tools, but you think I'm able to build anything? Absolutely not. I do
right,
not have that engineering mind as my husband does, to be able to create something and to build something without any directions, without looking at YouTube, just taking screws. He built a bookcase for me, built a bed. He can create anything because he has that mind frame. And that's still the mainstay, is that you can have all the tools, you can have every digital era tool available, and even those that people don't have. But if you do not have that vision nor that heart, if you do not have no tienen su corazon, es nada. There's nothing. You're not able to do anything without that. So that still puts people apart. That independence piece, talent versus accessibility to tools.
right.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody can now, and yeah, people talk about it's oversaturated, but again, so yeah, everybody can, but who's going to do it at the highest level? Who looks like they cared about what they were doing? And didn't just jump on the bandwagon and say, I mean, I could make me some money. Like it's such a cash grab. It's such a I don't even know what to call it. Like there's a lot of people not who don't care about the artistry. And that's fine, I guess. Like I'm not the gatekeeper of it, you know. I don't who am I to say your reason is wrong? I can't. I'm no one to say that, but
Mhm.
I just know we can tell. At the end of the day, we could tell.
Because
You know.
because what you are creating is a legacy. Like you want to have a legacy. You know, your poetic thread is both like a sermon and a cipher. The song I was thinking about when you were speaking, that lady came up with that song, "Give me one margarita, I'm a something done. Give me two margaritas," and she just threw
Hmm.
something together and became a one-hit wonder. That's what we called it back in my day, a one-hit wonder, where you just
Yeah.
did something, you recycled something, and it was catchy, but she could never recreate that high ever again. Now she may have gotten paid, got that cash grab from it, but there's no way
Hmm.
for her to recreate that because it was just something that just happened to be placed together. And there are many one-hit wonders that have gone through the world and through the music where they have tried to recreate that and lose money and go bankrupt trying to do so. But the real music lasts. Real art will always be valued through generations. I mean, you're talking about Lil Wayne, Carter too, and I know we're at least maybe 15 years difference in age, and you know around Lil Wayne's age as well. So to hear that you were influenced by Lil Wayne, and I've known Wayne since his teenage years before he could even cuss on the track. Yeah, that's because of
Hmm.
his longevity, because he puts his lyrics together in a way that reaffirms and just showcases where he's from. And that's the beauty of many artists that we know. UGK from the South, No Limit and Cash Money. They were able to do their verses because their music has lasted throughout these decades. And many people were upset behind the audience that were there because they could not appreciate what they were listening to, and then the how short of a time that versus challenge was going, because there were so many different hits, so many more different
Hmm.
songs that both of those organizations had put together, but they didn't showcase that in the verses. So historically, that's what people, the real audience, is most upset at, is that the real historical songs and those pieces weren't played because that's what people resonated to. Now, some, like the younger audience, have no idea what those songs were or what they meant to people. But again, the real is going to last. No, in whatever domain you are in, the realist is going to always be there. Period. Point blank. No matter
Hmm.
what. No matter what.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pac. Pac. Bob Marley. Like people speaking from because it's life. Like you could you could make a song about anything, but the people talking about that real life, no matter what skin color, male, female, whatever. Like we're all life is gonna be life forever, probably till they find some way to make us immortal with world peace. Then you know, Pac and
Mm-hmm.
Marley's and those will last forever till then. And hopefully, let's. I don't know. I don't even know if I would want the world to get like that or not, but we'll see.
No, I'm gonna go on and
With
say it.
the
The Doobie Corazons of the world too, up there with Tupac. I'm gonna say it for
yeah,
you. I'm gonna claim that for you,
yeah.
because again, you're coming from Baton Rouge. You are living and breathing as an example of what it means to be true to yourself in an area that can make you not be so. You know, you have made a conscious choice to be driven with a vision of success despite what's around you. And that speaks volumes of your family, of your environment, the friends that you choose to be around with. Like, you have to have such a big heart and much strength in the mind and the body and the spirit to be able to survive in places like Baton Rouge and in the state of Louisiana altogether. So never, ever count yourself out, Doobie. Seriously, I'm going to put you up there with Pop, for real. If you don't feel like
For
that
sure.
today, you will. You continue on and you will. And your music will also transcend that as well. And I hope that's clear, young scholar.
For sure. I receive it and I claim it.
There you go. As you should. As you should. Uh, so some more questions. Um, There's a lot of different questions. When you look back at your music, what song feels like your truest self? The one where you think, yeah, that's me. This is who Doobie Corazon really is. What's that song for you that really showcases your truest self?
Nice, nice. Um, so it's another unreleased song called Away. Um, so yeah, it's unreleased. I'll put it out soon, just so people have a reference to it. But yeah, Away. Um, I think it speaks on where my mind is. Like when I'm in a room full of people and I'm spaced out thinking, that's what I'm thinking about, pretty much.
Is it
Yeah.
away like AWAY or awake like being awake in the morning?
Oh, AWAY. Um,
Away.
I even, I even, I'm kind of thinking about even spelling it OA, but still like pronounced OA. Kind of like 'cause they had a show on Netflix where like about angels and stuff. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and how I'm saying the away on the hook, it kind of just reminds me of that. It's kind of this, it's a song about one about kind of wanting to run away, like run away from everything that makes you feel strapped down to a place you don't really care to be in. Like, feel like upholding a life that you don't even want for yourself. And it touches a lot on just political and religious restraint on my essence feeling its freest. So yeah. Um,
Wow.
would you like to hear some of it? I could kind of run you some words to see where I'm at
Man,
with it.
I am all ears. Please. I want to hear OA. Yes. Come on.
Okay, cool. So I'll start from the second verse because that's where I'm kind of really getting into it. So I think I'm going crazy in the head. Woke up to a stranger in my bed. I'm running from the preacher, creature, leeches, trying to pull me down. Had to shake 'em off my leg, rocking my dreadlocks. I started to dread life. I'm one of the have-nots. They judging me like Christ. So many then went left. I'm choosing to stay righteous. I'm just living life through the iris. Distortion, IRS extortion. The government's a dick. I'm just cutting off the foreskin way out of proportion. They force them, just know it ain't for us, it's for them. America's on fire, scorching. The same men that rape the ladies take away abortion. Could hit the lottery, and once they give me my little portion, really they just took all of my fortune. Uh, wait. Verse 3, we finally made it. When you out here spreading love, I know that they hate it. This that garden of Eden finding me naked. With a woman on my rib and she's contemplating. Should she eat the apple again? She has to take it. She has to taste it. We have to face it. Was given one rule that she had to break. An Adam's apple in my throat, it was our mistake. as I fall from grace, as I commit another sin and then hide my face. When you've been losing your religion, it's the hardest way of living, but I still take that leap as an act of faith. I don't know where I'm going, but it's heaven, I hope, on earth or beyond the clouds. I know that'll be dope. I know we all just want to live, and since we in the same boat, Jesus wept so that I could float away. Yeah.
Like, man, spoken word, hitting that lyric, that lyrical play is bananas.
Thank you,
So,
thank you, thank
and I mean, you just was like, yeah, let me get into this. And then boom, the last two verses,
you.
I'm gonna have to. So, like my oldest son, we talk about that with unreleased music. The unreleased music from artists is always the best music because it's not for anybody but for themselves. And that right there, oh wait, man, that was
Mhm,
so methodically spoken and put together. Jesus wept so I could float. And then just everything else that you were saying, it was like, man, you are the truth. You are absolutely the truth. And I hope you know that, to have that feeling of wanting to, run away, right? And I really hope that you do find what you're running towards. And you get that innate feeling because that was man, that was hip hop. That was the epitome of what hip hop truly is in a way that is distinctly your own. I can't say that I've heard something like that before. What I can say is that that is absolutely phenomenally lyrically placed together and from a very spiritual place. Like you are definitely contemplating when you put those together, and man, well done. Well done. Damn.
where, thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you for blessing the podcast with that sincerely.
For sure, for sure.
Oh yeah, you the truth. You are the truth. Yeah, yeah. You were definitely up there with Tupac. Definitely up there. Easily said. If I'm the first or the second or the fifth one to say it, I'm gonna say it here right on my podcast. The necessity of that type of lyrical play in 2025, it's needed and it's refreshing too. Like man, the youth got it. The youth shall lead, and that was some leadership type lyrical style there, man. Good job, Doobie, man.
Mhm. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Oh man, uh, I have a few more questions. I want to honor your time, but let me ask you. Here's a good question here. I'm gonna ask this question. This will be our last question, but I definitely am gonna need you back on this podcast later on in the coming years for real. But let me leave with this question with you. If your life were a movie, what would the title be, and what song would play during the closing credits?
Mm. If my life were a movie, what would the title be and
Mm-hmm.
what song would play in the, you say the closing credits?
Yep.
Hmm.
When the movie's finally done, what song would be playing there?
Mm. The anomaly. The anomaly.
All right, break that down. Why the anomaly for the movie title?
Um, I just have a lot of experiences that I won't say weren't supposed to be overcome, but somehow they were. Like, I think I've just been against a lot of odds and tried by fire, and I've just been put in a lot of positions to carve me into whoever I'm supposed to be and become. And when I look back at a lot of stuff, it's like there's no way. I'm just against all the odds, you know. It's not even supposed to be possible, but it is. So, and I'm grateful and thankful for it, and I'll do something with the opportunity, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the song would be mm, Bob Marley Redemption Song, 'cause
Break that
that's all
down.
I
Why
have.
that song? Yeah.
That's all I have, you know. Um, I, I have a chance. Um, whether I was put into a position that I shouldn't have got through, or I put myself into something, I have a testimony, you know. I have a chance to get back to the kingdom, you know. I feel like, ooh, not to sound religious or nothing, but I don't feel like we were cast out. I feel like we walked out, you know. We ran away from the light. So breath in the body is a chance to get back to it. And with that breath, we make these songs that are a testimony to where we've been, where we're trying to go, and what's our birthright. So, redemption songs.
Man, that's exquisitely said. Well said. And that ties up the whole conversation when you, especially when you were talking about the responsibility you have with some music, not promoting it, but posting some music. You are definitely on the right track and on the path of righteousness, and on the path of self-awareness, and you're learning more about yourself. And as you get older, you start to learn more, you start to tolerate less. And it has just been so insightful. This has been a very powerful episode of the Hip Hop Scholar podcast. Christopher Dubiclet, I should say. I mean,
Hmm.
this podcast is designed for artists like yourself. I'm just honored for you to be here and to have shared the wisdom and knowledge that you have provided. You definitely are invited. Anytime you want to come back and just unpack all of what you're thinking. This has been a very, very amazing interview. I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Melanie, for having me. The honor was mine. Um, you're a great listener. I love how you put your words together. And I just thank you for a reason to think, you know, a reason to think deeper about hip hop and life and what and why we do what we do. Um, so thank you for me and everyone else that can benefit from your presence and what you do. So thank you so much.
You are welcome. That blesses me so very much. Thank you so much, the Hip Hop Scholar family. Y'all check out Doobie Corazon. You'll see the links at the bottom of this interview. This is the Hip Hop Scholar podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We are out of here. Peace.
Peace.